Max Verstappen sent out a threat to Helmut Marko, warning the Red Bull advisor to never bet against him after losing money in an Abu Dhabi wager against Christian Horner. After defending Marko against Horner's attempts to oust him a few months prior, the Dutchman has now pledged his loyalty to the other side. Verstappen, now a triple world champion, clinched the last pole position of the year at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix finale with a strong showing in the qualifying session. After a challenging final practice, Verstappen found himself struggling with the balance and handling of his Red Bull, leading to a pace setback. But crucial setup changes between the two sessions played a pivotal role as Verstappen successfully outpaced Ferrari's Charles Leclerc to secure his 12th pole of the dominant 2023 campaign. After the checkered flag, a light-hearted team radio exchange unfolded between the Dutchman and team principal Horner on the Red Bull pit wall, unveiling the existence of an intense bet. Marko laid down a big bet with Horner, doubting Verstappen's ability to secure a spot on the front row after his challenges in FP3. Horner snitched on Marko, telling Max about the wager. He said, "Well done, mate. You've just won me €500 from Helmut, which is like getting blood out of a stone." This admission piqued Verstappen's interest, leading him to tell his boss, "Helmut lost a bet? What world are we living in?" Horner gave him answers, saying, "The bet was for you to be on the front row." During the post-qualifying press conference, Verstappen confidently rubbed Marko's loss to his face. He bragged that, "I think Helmut learned his lesson. Never bet against me." Of course it was a bit of a gamble, because you don't know. We try a lot of things on the car, which didn't really seem to solve the problem. But yeah, I think GP stayed calm, and he definitely went through a lot of options. And then with my feedback, he came up with a very good setup for qualifying. So very happy with that. But of course, it's always a bit of a gamble. You're never 100% sure, and missing FP1 probably would have been still tough to get it right for FP2 and FP3. In a rare confession, Marko said that he was wrong to doubt his golden boy, crediting the team's technical expertise and Verstappen's flawless performance for his financial setback. In a conversation with motorsport.com, Marko shared his thoughts on his loss. He said, "I was convinced we wouldn't recover from our FP3 setback, where we lost half a second in just one sector. It also seemed like an inspirational push. Christian was optimistic about the front row, but I was leaning towards the second row. Ultimately, I'm delighted that our engineers did a great job with the setup, and Max, as always, exceeded expectations. I should have trusted Max's ability." That wasn't the only confession that came out of the Red Bull camp. Christian Horner has elaborated on his previous remarks about Lewis Hamilton, which were published leading up to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Horner clarified that while he did receive an approach from Lewis Hamilton's father, Anthony, any discussions were not considered serious. As we approached the season finale this weekend, a report emerged stating that Horner had asserted a member of Hamilton's team had reached out to discuss the possibility of Hamilton driving for Red Bull in 2024. Hamilton, who inked a new 2-year deal with Mercedes in September, refuted Horner's assertions, saying that no one from his team had contacted Horner about a potential move to Red Bull. He clarified that the only communication between them was a brief text exchange. When pressed to provide clarity on the situation following the headline sparked by his initial comments and Hamilton's denial, Horner gave more details during Friday's team principal's press conference at the Yas Marina circuit. He said, "It's remarkable how much traction this has got. It's a question of he said, she said, who said what said. It's entirely normal for drivers' representatives, drivers' parents to have different conversations during the course of a year. We haven't had any serious discussion with Lewis. There was never a seat available. I've known Anthony Hamilton for many years. He's a good guy, a proud racing father. Inevitably, when drivers go through tough spots, let's face it, Lewis hasn't won a Grand Prix in 2 years. Questions will be asked up and down in the paddock. There was never any engagement. I don't know who represents who or what, but with the same surname, you would think they were reasonably close. It's difficult to say, but, other than pleasantries, there was no specific, can I drive for Red Bull next year, unless Anthony wanted to drive. As I say, that's not unusual. There's many drivers, as you can imagine, that we hear from during the course of a year. When questioned about whether he believes Mercedes would be taken aback by the revelation that Hamilton's father was in contact with Red Bull, Horner said, "Not really. He's the most successful driver of all time and hasn't won a Grand Prix since 2021. You haven't got to be a rocket scientist to work that out. I doubt that I was the only one that there was an inquiry made to. What the dynamics are within any given relationship, I don't know. I'm not privy to that. But inevitably, there are questions going to be asked. There's not really much more to say. A lot has been made out of something fairly innocuous. The Red Bull team boss may have won his battle with Marco, but he has another one to fight. This time, it's against Toto Wolff, who has thrown insults left and right after finding out about his false claim that Lewis Hamilton tried to switch teams. After the issue broke out to the public, Wolff had an insulting reaction to Christian Horner's statements. In discussions with select media, Wolff said that Horner's recent comments and public statements raised questions about his character. He had a few choice words for his rival, and none of them are pretty. He started off his rant by saying, "I just don't know what drives the guy. We don't understand his thinking to come up with these things. What happened is that Christian, through an agency that we work with, wanted to have his contact details to speak about the seat. That's how the whole thing went. It was Christian inquiring into his availability. Lewis had an exchange with Christian, which he immediately told me about, which was not about a seat, but it was just, blah. I've seen it, so I don't know what drives him to come out with this. You've won the season. Be happy about it. Be humble. Enjoy it. Don't make comments about Abu Dhabi 2021, which are completely off the mark." Wolff then sighed. In character question, "I just wonder what's going on up there." Wolff's comments were in response to a statement Horner made last week during his appearance on Sky's A League of Their Own. During the show, Horner discussed the race in which Max Verstappen secured his first title, highlighting a controversial decision by then FIA race director Michael Massey that played to the advantage of the Dutch driver's strategic gamble. Horner said that, Mercedes fucked up. They left poor Lewis out there on tires that had done pretty much most of the race, and we pitted with Max, so he was on a fresh set of tires. Max made the move, and the interesting thing was where Max passed him, it caught Lewis completely by surprise. And when confronted by PlanetF1.com about whether Wolff finds any satisfaction in the ongoing rivalry he shares with Horner in recent years, both being leaders of the sport's most recently dominant teams, this is what he had to say. "Not rivalry. I believe in enemy building, and in looking at people that motivate you, annoy you, that you want to beat. I encourage everybody in the company to find out who that is, in the other teams. Spend some time on LinkedIn, see who it is. I have 2 windows that are permanently open on my laptop." When further questioned by PlanetF1.com about the individuals he might enjoy the rivalry with, Wolff smiled and confessed that Horner is not among them. "It's no one from Formula 1. I can't tell you. Someone from the finance world and tech world. What do you think? Has the Horner-Wolff rivalry been one-sided all this time? And what do you make of Helmut Marko doubting Max Verstappen? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.